There are so many possibilities for the playoffs, and it hurts my head. We were trying to go over here, even just trying to talk about it, and I still haven't fully grasped it. So we're going to go over what we do know, and then give our thoughts and predictions as to what's going to happen. Starting with the AFC, it's pretty simple to start off with the Patriots, win and in. Miami Dolphins, they win. Patriot lose, they're in. Then you go down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those two teams in front of them lose, they're in. Possibility even that the Jaguars could somehow still make it in.
Yeah.
That's the most cut and dry, I think, of all that we're going to talk about today. And then also the wild card on the other side is a little more convoluted. I don't even fully understand it. So go ahead and explain to them the number 1 seed in the AFC.
So
the number 1 and number 2 seed, I guess.
Okay, so for the number 1, number 2 seed, basically if the Chiefs beat the Raiders on Saturday, they lock up the number 1 seed no matter what. Now if the Bills win and the Chiefs lose on Saturday, then the Bills have the number 1 seed. Now, that's how it's going to be technically speaking. Now, if you want to go further down the line, if there's a scenario in which either the Bengals or the Bills would have won on Monday night and had a chance at the number 1 seed, so for instance...
but Monday night didn't happen, so
Monday
don't even...
Well, no. I'm saying that's what's going into this. That's
okay.
So, pretty much... They're saying that if the Bengals would have won and so if the Chiefs lose, for instance, if the Chiefs lose on Saturday and Cincinnati wins, if those two meet up in the playoffs, then they would have to be at a neutral field.
Yeah.
Because either one of those teams could have been the number 1 seed. Now, going into Buffalo, actually no, that would only happen if Buffalo also loses. I think, because Buffalo has the tiebreaker over both of them if they're all 3 tied for the number 1 seed. So that would happen. So if Buffalo and the Chiefs lose and Cincinnati wins, then if Cincinnati plays either one of those teams, they would be at an... Yes, it's a headache. It's a headache.
Why couldn't they just said, hey, Tyler Bass, McPherson, we're going to meet on a field, 5 attempts, 45-yard field goals, winner wins the game. Come on, I think that's not a bad idea. That would have made so much
It would have been a
easier.
lot more entertaining too.
It would have been. Put some cameras on.
Imagine you play it in Cincinnati. You do it in Cincinnati, and you bring all the fans back there.
Oh, nobody's showing up for that.
Are you sure? You're talking about loud cheers as they're going to go kick
on a Wednesday, like when everyone's already got. They've already got their lives planned out and everything. I think that's a bit too
much. So that's the most complicated part of the
1, 2, and 3.
Of the 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Now, the less complicated part is that if the Bills and Chiefs both win, then Chiefs number 1 seed, Bills number 2 seed. If they meet up, that's on a neutral field. And if the Chiefs lose and Bills win. If they both lose, I believe... Actually, if they both lose, then it's also out on a neutral field as well.
I think what's most likely is that it's going to end up Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I think all 3 of them are going to win their games, but then that would just leave them in that order. The Chiefs play the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. They're going against Jarrett Stidham. Come on. The Buffalo Bills, we saw a couple years ago when they played the Miami Dolphins last week of the season, and they actually had nothing to play for. Now, this time they do have something to play for. Even if the Chiefs win on Saturday, they're still fighting for that 2 and 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you end up playing? That would be determined by who they win or not. So they still kind of have something to play for.
Yeah, you're talking about playing the Patriots, Dolphins, Steelers versus playing the Chargers or the Ravens with Lamar.
Yeah, so there is some incentive there, and then even again, we saw them without that incentive already decided to go that way. I honestly think, looking at the wild card, I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't believe in us to beat the Jets. We just did a preview on my other channel, link in the bio, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. We're almost at 100 subscribers, so help your boy out. We just did a preview over there, and I predicted us to lose. I also predict the Patriots to lose. So as nuts as it's going to sound, I think the Steelers are somehow going to find a way to make it into the playoffs.
That would be absolutely nuts.
I think it's going to happen.
See, I told you if the Dolphins don't make it, my ideal scenario... Now, I think the Dolphins are going to make it. I think that we're going to beat the Jets. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a really tight, low-scoring game. You'll see the full breakdown in the link below. Go click on it. Subscribe, please.
Please.
But yeah, so But if the Dolphins don't make it, there's actually a scenario in which the Jags can make it still. So
all three of those teams might lose.
So all
I don't think
three
the Steelers are losing though.
So it would have to be the Jags lose to the Titans on Saturday.
Yes.
The Steelers lose, the Dolphins lose, and the Patriots lose. So it
I
would
think two
actually
of those are going to happen.
So I think it's a possibility that all four could possibly happen. Because I'm looking at it right now, and I mean the Steelers play the Browns. Now the Browns are not good lately.
I'm taking the Steelers there.
But Watson last week finally looked like Watson of Houston. So
did he?
I mean, bro, he threw
which part of Watson and Houston did he look like? He had his hands all over that football.
But it wasn't his hands. You gotta remember that. But he threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, including 2 really good touchdowns.
Who was that against?
Yeah, that's a good question.
you think us as sports YouTubers, specifically football related, we would know that information?
Well, why'd you gotta put on the spot, sir? Do you know?
Nope.
Exactly. So, but anyways, regardless, I mean,
was it against Washington?
It was Washington. It was Washington.
It was Washington.
Because of Ron Rivera's press conference. We can be eliminated?
Cool. 3 hours later.
Eliminated. But I mean, the Washington Commanders still have a good defense. I mean, it's not as good as the Steelers.
Yeah,
but they still have a good defense.
I think what's going to happen there, I think the Steelers are going to make it. Obviously, you think the Dolphins are going to make it. Do you agree with the 1, 2, 3 Chiefs, Bills, Bengals?
Yeah, I think all 3 teams are going to win.
Moving over to the NFC side of things, that was a little bit more easier because we've seen every team play their full allotment of games, no suspensions, no canceled games. As of now, it's the Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the 49ers and Vikings are flipped.
49ers are actually the 2nd seed right now.
Okay. Again, I think Jalen Hurts is looking like he's going to play. So I think that's going to finish in that exact same order. Eagles, 49ers, Vikings. The Vikings are terrible.
But if you also think about it, so the Giants, they're locked into the 6th seed. They can't go higher. They can't go lower. So
even more.
They've been playing it close to the vest all week long, but it was announced recently that the Giants will be resting some of their starters, if not most of them.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they only really have like 3 starters in that time.
It was interesting because Dable in that press conference, he laughed and smirked at the idea of the Giants resting their starters. After that game where they clinched the playoffs, he's like, yeah, we're not resting. Season's not over. And then fast forward a week later.
You know where that comes from. That's not from him. That comes from upper management. Hey, you have an injury-prone team.
We haven't made the playoffs in years, all right, boy? Calm down.
Yeah, and so with that, they play the Eagles. And so the only way for the now the Cowboys can still take the division. They would have to be the Commanders and the Eagles to lose. However, with the Giants, obviously going to be resting starters, and the Eagles obviously not. I don't see that happening. Yeah. So the Eagles are going to win, keep the number 1 seed. They're obviously, if they lose and Dallas, it doesn't actually. If they lose and San Francisco wins, San Francisco has the number 1 seed.
Yes,
they would need San Francisco to also lose
for the Cowboys
to jump 1 seed. So Cowboys can get the division, so they can either be 1, 2, or 5.
Can the Vikings get the? No, because they lost to the Eagles.
Because they lost to the Eagles and they lost to the Cowboys.
So I think most likely scenario is the Eagles get the top spot. After that, I think it's more likely that the Niners get it, and then the Cowboys. But again, 1, 2, 3, Eagles, Niners, Vikings. I think it's staying in that exact same order. The wild card is going to be fun because it won't be determined till the very last game of the season what ends up happening. So Seattle can do their part. They play at 4:30, I believe it is. They can go ahead and win that game. Who are they playing?
The Seattle Seahawks are playing the Los Angeles Rams.
Again, these are things that we probably should know before.
Well, I knew it, but then you put me on the spot.
Well, don't you have it in front of you?
I do, but I was trying to look for them. So
you also need glasses.
I also need glasses.
Yeah.
But Seattle plays the Rams, so that could either be really good or really bad.
Honestly, I think best case scenario, just for entertainment purposes, again, we're Dolphins fans, we don't really care what happens with the 7th spot in the NFC wildcard. Just for entertainment purposes, though, I think it'd be more entertaining if Seattle loses, because then the Lions and Packers would be for that last spot. Winning in.
Now, given for the Packers, no matter what, it's winning in.
It is, yes.
However, going into that game, Sunday Night Football, if you're the Lions, you're almost watching that game. And, I don't doubt that if the Seahawks win, that they go ahead and rest players like St. Brown, Swift, Jameson Williams, DJ Chark.
I don't think Dan Campbell will be the type to do that, especially when you have the opportunity to knock your division mate out of the playoffs.
Yeah, but you also I think he's been very kind of like safe with Jameson Williams, not wanting.
Well, maybe Jameson, but the rest of them, I don't think he'd sit Goff.
Swift is. I think Swift, Chark, and Jameson, because those are the three most injury-prone players.
Well, so those are the scenarios. How do you think it actually plays out?
How do I think it actually plays out? Game is in Seattle and it's Baker, so it can really go either way. I'm going to go, just because I really, really want the Lions to make it in, I'm going to go ahead, Rams beat the Seahawks, and then the Lions on the road in Lambeau take out the Packers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going the complete opposite route. I think Seattle's going to win, so that therefore knocks the Lions out. I do think the Lions are still going to give a full fight, but I do ultimately think it's going to be the Packers getting in that last wildcard spot.
And Aaron Rodgers just proving everyone wrong and saying, shove it.
I don't think he's necessarily proved everyone wrong, because if he had but been the experienced, smart quarterback, he would have gotten this relationship with these younger receivers a lot sooner on in the season, and it wouldn't be in this scenario in the first place. And they still, getting to the playoffs is not the mark for the Packers. That's the bare minimum.
Well, no, they're going to make it. They're going to make it to the NFC Championship game and lose to the 49ers. Simple.
They would play the 49ers in the first round.
Oh.
So basically, they get to the same exact spot they were last year.
Actually, I'm gonna say they make it to the NFC Championship game, they'd only make it to the divisional round, because they would have to play the 49ers then the Eagles.
Yeah, that'd be rough. There's no shot.
No, there's no shot.
But
I do.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
So just to lay back out my thoughts are, and then you can round out your thoughts. I think it's going to be Chiefs getting the number 1 seed, followed by the Bills and the Bengals. I think the Steelers are going to get that final wild card spot. Other side, Eagles, Niners, Vikings, and then the Packers getting the final wild card spot.
So I'm going to start with AFC like you did. I'm going to agree with you on Kansas City, Bills, Bengals, number 4 seed, Josh Dobbs, and the Titans are knocking off the Jaguars.
I didn't even think about that as a possibility. That's not happening. That's not happening. That also ruined our plans to go to Jacksonville for the game.
It would ruin our plans to go to Jacksonville for the game, but
it's not happening.
But the Titans,
the Jags have been the hottest team in the league recently.
They really do. But I'm going to go ahead and say, screw it, and say that it's going to be the. You want to go to that game? It's on Saturday. It's in Jacksonville. Titans and Jags.
I work tomorrow.
Oh, you bitch. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Tennessee knocks off Jacksonville.
I also don't want to do 2 road trips to Jacksonville in back-to-back weeks. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited to go to the playoff game if we get to, but that's 6 hours back and forth.
But 5 seed Chargers, 6 seed Baltimore, and then 7 seed Dolphins. And
I hope you're right.
Going to the other way, I'm going to go ahead. Philly number 1, San Francisco number 2, Vikings number 3. They're going to be the Giants first round. 4 seed obviously can't change. Is going to be the Buccaneers. Like I said earlier, I'm going to take in the 7th spot. I'm going to take the Lions.
All right, let us know your predictions down below. If you're just as confused as we are, also let us know. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Please, again, go over, click that link. Miami Dolphins Syndicate. We're getting really close to 100 subscribers. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy.